Hello, my name is Kay and welcome back to this episode of House Flipper. So this is the house that we started in our previous episode. It took a lot of cleaning and adjusting and all of that good stuff. But this time we are just going to focus on the renovation. And you will notice that these tiles I chose for the bathroom have white at the top. And I did this for a specific reason. You don't have to use the tiles for the whole room. You can use white paint for these little areas up here around the window and around the door frame because they are white. So I just wanted to show that really helpful, in my opinion, hint/tip because it's something that I use all of the time. So a little disclaimer here. That's right, I'm giving a disclaimer for my video. It has been several days since I recorded this and I was having some severe throat issues. My throat hurt very badly. I have a little touch of tonsillitis, but I'm feeling much better now. So it's kind of exciting to be watching this back and seeing what I did, as I can't fully remember the choices that I made and why. So we will be looking at this with a fresh set of eyes, and I'm going to see if I still agree with these choices that I made while designing the interior of our beautiful little tiny house that has been in a fire. I really prefer to use the compact toilets. I just like them better, but a little warning about the compact toilets. It started out as an Easter egg for, I believe, April Fools, and I'm not positive, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure that's how it started. But the compact toilets, there is a chance of a gray rat with bright red eyes to stick his head out of the little hole inside the toilet before you close the lid. And the first time I saw that, it made me jump something terrible. I was not expecting that sort of jump scare from a toilet of all things, but there you have it. Now I just try to close those toilet lids as quickly as I can. And you can see here, I went with a very different color scheme. I went with this blue bathroom, this sunny, bright living room, kitchenette, and I used some of the tiles that I had left over from the bathroom to add this little backsplash area around the window. And here I am just kind of figuring out what kind of cabinetry and sinks and things I want for the kitchen. And you'll notice that the inside of the sink is bright yellow, and that's why I took the sink into the bedroom very quickly. The inside of the sink is actually reflecting the wall color. So because the walls in here are painted this daffodil color, the inside of the sink is reflecting that. So the inside of the sink is not actually gold. It is a silver color, but it's just picking up that color, which is a nice detail. I went with this fridge at first until I realized it was a mini fridge, and then I decided against it. I had never used that fridge before, and I was like, hey, I can try something new. And then I saw how small it was, and I thought, no, we're not going to go with this. As you will see with all of my flips and renovations, I tend to change my mind frequently. I really wanted to use that table as it's something I never really used before, and then I saw just how much space it took up, and it kind of took over the whole room, and I wanted to stay away from that. I also wanted to use some chairs that are different from the ones I normally use, and I didn't want to make everything too matchy-matchy. That's why I didn't have yellow cushions on the chairs. Instead, I went with this dark gray color. And I like to have different color stories. So the color story for this room is really yellow, dark gray, and surprisingly dark green. Now you'll see that I choose this gray sofa, but as you can imagine, that will not stay there. I do see, once I add a coffee table to hold the TV, it's like a TV stand, I made that gray. And it just kind of took over like too much gray in here. I'm not a big fan of way too much saturation of color, although as you have seen and as you may see in the future, I go with a lot of neutrals, a lot of white, but I was not feeling this all gray story I had going. And if you hear a little scratchy sound, one of my rescue kitties, Bowie, she has the sniffles and she's also working it out on the cat scratcher right now. Of course she is. She had no interest until I started recording audio, and there she is. And here is our green love seat. I like it. I'm not a big person to really use a lot of patterns based on the patterns that they have available in the game, but they're starting to grow on me. I'm trying new things. And I thought about sectioning off the kitchen area to make it like its own little room with little tiny half walls up top, but I changed my mind. It's too small of an area. And here you can see some of the patterns I'm talking about. Some of them are just kind of atrocious, and some of them are very bold. I went with this muted gray with white polka dots for the curtains. Technically, they're Roman blinds. I should say what they are. They are blinds. They are not curtains. But these window treatments here, and I like it. It keeps the room open looking. You can see that I outlined the window frames in white again. As I mentioned in previous videos, I really like to outline them in white. It might not happen for every house, but for a very small area like this, I want the room to look as big as possible. And now I am picking out lights. This is one of my very favorite lamps in the game. This geometric chandelier type light. It casts really cool shadows, which is a really nice attention to detail on the developer's part. This lamp, I love it, but I don't like the light that it puts off, so that will be going away at a later time. And here I am just moving my paint cans around because I have a tendency to hold on to my paint a little bit longer than I need to, but as I've made it abundantly clear, I change my mind very frequently. So I'd rather hold on to the paint than trying to figure out, wait a minute, what color did I use here? Because there are so many colors of paint, kinds of wall tiles, kinds of wallpaper and wall panels, so I struggle to remember which ones I've used. Instead of using a full bed in this room, because it is rather small, I decided to go with the day bed. Growing up, my grandma had a day bed in her library, and I thought it was the coolest thing. And even as an adult, I kind of secretly want a day bed, but I really don't have a place for a day bed. And here I'm trying to find window treatments that will actually fit the windows, and it was a struggle. So I went with these curtains that I've used in the past on a previous renovation. I did them in pink, I think, last time, but I chose this really rich dark blue color that I've never used that color on these before. So I was really happy to see how those turned out. They don't exactly matchy the walls, but I think they look nice. Now I'm getting into picking out lighting for the bedroom, and I never really use the ceiling fan. It lets off kind of like a warm glow, as opposed to like the harsher white lights from the halogens that I use in a lot of the bathrooms. And because our space here is so limited, I just went with these two tiny little wardrobes. They're considered wardrobes, but they look more like nightstands. But again, since nobody's actually living here and putting clothes inside, it's not a huge deal. And I love this dressing table, but I've never used it. It seems kind of juvenile, but what's wrong with that? Try something different. We have a little blue poof to go with it. I had a dressing table many years ago. My boyfriend at the time had bought it for me at Big Lots, and I didn't have a place to set it up. So fast forward years later, I finally had a place to set it up. And wouldn't you know, half of the pieces were missing, including some of the legs. And it was years, I'm talking like 5 years after this was purchased. I couldn't very well take it back to Big Lots and get a refund. So I never had a dressing table. Always wanted one. Right now, at this point in my life, I really don't need one. And here's the before and after of paneling. I went with brick this time. I figured I would cut all of the paneling out because you know how it works. It's just like wallpapering. It's very quick now since we have all those perks unlocked. So there was no need to really show it. And it's kind of my trademark at this point. Adding little herbs in the kitchen. Even though there's a double up of rosemary for some reason, even though they're two separate items, rosemary is in two of them. I like rosemary, but not enough to have two fresh rosemary plants. Now, if it was basil, I love basil. Basil is by far my favorite fresh herb. I can't tell you why. I just love it. I've had so many basil plants over the years. They always tend to die out in the fall going into winter, and I can't have indoor plants because of the kitty girls. So Whenever there is a chance, any opportunity to have fresh basil, I am all about it. It is just my favorite. So you can see here I'm adding some more counter space, moving things around a little bit, because I didn't really like the setup that I had for the kitchen. And look at that! That is so much better. Why didn't I do that from the start? I don't know. But the important thing is that we got there now. Now we're going to get into some decorations. I'm going to try to sell to that elderly couple who seem to be fans of, well, they don't seem to be, they are huge, huge, huge fans of rugs. And I like that one for the bedroom, so in it went. I did go with some different rugs for the living room kitchenette area, but some of them did not work out. This one, for example, I had this idea of being like a runner going from the front door to the back door, and it didn't quite reach, and it wasn't lined up, so away it went. There's a lot of scrolling here while I figure out what I want to do, and I've never used this welcome mat in gold. So here we are, trying new things, using different items, and that's kind of a challenge that I put for myself. Every house, I try to use something that I haven't used before. But this picture is something that I use all of the time. This vegetable picture. It's a photograph of vegetables. I love it. It has so many different colors. And if you haven't guessed by now, I am all about lots of color as I put up a black and white photograph. No, I really am though, because photos with all these different colors can bring colors in that you don't necessarily have to decorate. Like there's bright orange in the carrots in that picture, and there's no orange in this room. There's yellow, there's green, but there's no orange. So I went with this kind of black and white photo scheme, these city maps of Washington and Cairo and I believe Tokyo. Yes, the city plan pictures came with the luxury stuff. I haven't used them too much. Here's the changing of the lamp. It's just not so abrasive as that other light was. It was more like a spotlight. And I went into mirrors here. I wanted a mirror sort of near the front door, so I went with these mirror modules, and instead of having them line up as you can do, I thought, wait a minute, how about we space them out? That would be kind of neat. And with a small area, like living space like this, I like to put mirrors, as I would in real life, because the reflection, it's reflecting the room back and therefore making it look bigger than it actually is. And way, way, way back in the late 90s, there was this man named Christopher Lowell who had an interior design show on public television. I think was it the Christopher Lowell show? No, that was later. He had another show before that, and it was all about interior design, and I wish I could remember the name of it. But anyway, I remember he gave the tip about the mirrors and also greenery and plants and things. And although he will never hear this, Christopher Lowell, you changed my life as far as how I design rooms in House Flipper. So thank you very much. I'm sure he's very flattered. Now I'm working on putting some cute little things in the bathroom, and these little knickknacks and doodads and tchotchkes and what have yous, these all add to the sense that somebody actually lives here. Like a tissue box and this towel stack, which they're more like washcloths really, and I used different patterns that I wouldn't normally use. The new soap dish came with luxury stuff, and this hanger is really cool, this shelf with hanger. I removed the towel and I'm just using it as a shelf, and that won't fit. But hey, when you're in the shower, you're going to want a little shelf for your body washes, your soaps, your shampoos, your conditioner, all those things. You need a shelf for those, really. And I went with this kind of beigey hand towel and body towels that I normally would not use this color palette, but I think it looks good with the rest of the color scheme going on in here. Oh yes, it takes me a while to find it, but one of my very favorite plants in the whole game is the Orchid. And I love this metallic gold pot that it comes in. And I got stuck on the pot for a minute there on the toilet, but it's all fine now. I've thought about moving that. There wasn't room, so I just put things back where they were, and there's this beautiful orchid in there. Now, why would you put an orchid in the bathroom, you ask? I'm so glad you asked. Because orchids tend to like the steam, from what I understand. I had an orchid plant for a while, and I kept it in the shower. And it did, well, not actually in the shower, in the bathroom. And when the shower ran, I always made sure that it was in there. And I don't know if it actually helped, though, because it died. I do not really have a green thumb. I love flowers. I love plants and things like that, but I'm not particularly knowledgeable about them. And I have a wonderful tendency of killing them. I don't mean to, but I do. So here, for this little corner, there are Christmas decorations that I wanted to put up. Not because of Christmas or anything. You know, Christmas is coming up sooner than later. But they're stars, and they light up. And how cute are those? I love those. I love things that light up like that. Super cute. This bedroom is very cute. Cute, cute, cute. All I'm going to say is cute. I did something very different here. I decided to set the table a little bit. There are placemats. I adjust this one just a little bit. And I put out some soup plates. Does it say soup plates? I believe it does, because I wouldn't say soup plate. I would say soup bowl. And some spoons and some drinking glasses here, these low glasses. It's kind of like a dollhouse in its own way, and I've always had an affinity for dollhouses. Some more plants and the beautiful metallic gold planters. And this elderly couple, they're very picky. They love rugs. They love wall art. They'd like to have a kitchen. They like 2 plants or many, many, many plants. And right now they are at the top of the list for potential buyers. So I think we've added enough plants for them to be okay with the amount of plants. Or perhaps not, because I keep an eye on this as I decorate to see who's most likely to buy it. I sell to them the most often because they're fairly easy to please. I don't know why I came out to look at it from the back. Maybe just to see what you could see. Maybe it's just a tour that I was giving. That sounds about right. It's probably like finishing touches. Last call. Is there anything that looks really silly here? And yeah, here we go. We're going to put the house on the auction. We are not going to submit it for the garden contest. We will do this later when we have bigger homes and more money. So as a reminder, we bought the house for $36,657.88. There are 3 rooms. I've been working on it for 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 28 seconds. Current budget is right around $25,000. So the renovation cost $667. We bought $4,000 worth of furniture and sold $2,000 worth of furniture. And if you look at that, our profit is going to be $19,747.93. And I did attempt to negotiate because it will not hurt. And I wasn't sure how much to go up to. It was like 2, that seems too low. 3, 4. I think I settled right around 4. There we go. Yeah, $4,300. Did they accept it? No, we're sorry, but we can't afford to pay more. Wah wah. But we will still accept their offer. But I'm going to end it here. Next episode, we're going to do some assignments. But if you like this video and want to see more like it, please like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you'll be notified when a new video comes out. Please leave your comments and suggestions down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.